there's a thing that I got from my mom a long time ago. You can either be a good example, which is what Eric talked about last night, where we've been at in a lot of ways, or you can be a horrible one. And Mike touched upon today, just now. Talking about Hebrews 11. Here we go. Women received their dead raised to life again. Others were tortured, not accepting deliverance, that they might obtain a better resurrection, or a more sure resurrection. And that's something that's actually always given me at least a little hope in the road. What you mean? We're all headed towards resurrection. How is one better than another? And I do like the one that's more sure. The translation to translate that, a more sure resurrection. That still doesn't completely answer my question. And it was in light of that choice of, are you going to be a good example, or are you going to be a horrible one? Because God is God. I agree. And God is sovereign. And God is going to get done what God wants to get done, one way or another. Now, even as believers, even as people that hear from God, I would say that right in our lives we have a horrible warning of that. And we've got Jonah, who God was sovereign, and God said what He had to say, and God did what He had to do. Did what He had to do. But Jonah sure as heck wasn't on board, and didn't choose it, and didn't have any joy. Didn't have any joy in his life. The joy that Paul can say that he has, in the Corinthians and in the Thessalonians. The joy that he has in seeing them change. We get to the end of the story of Jonah, and there's none of that. He still hates the Ninevites. There's a whole nation of people that turned their hearts towards the Lord. And he wasn't affected by that at all. Wow. And that's the choice we have. Because we're going to minister to the people that God wants us to minister to. He's got it. And it's going to happen. And you're either going to be a horrible warning, yet 3 days and Nineveh will be destroyed. You might wind up in the belly of a whale in the middle of an ocean with a hard heart. Or you can be a good example. The example that the reason that I believe that the writer of Hebrews can say that these people who didn't accept deliverance can have a more sure resurrection is because I believe they more closely follow the pattern of Christ. Because Christ says, I lay down my life that I may pick it up again. And we have that choice to lay aside our lives, to lay aside the things we've wanted to, the things we like, the things that are stylish, the things that are fun, because we care for someone else. Because as Christ was able to do it, He was able to endure the cross with the joy that was set before Him. He was able to lay down His life that He might pick it up again for the joy of what it's done here and throughout time, people will turn to God. Because that touched His heart. And rather than being used by God, because God's God and He's going to do it, and being a horrible example of what not to do, you can choose to follow that good example and continue to be that good example. No matter how little it is, no matter how big it is. I've said it before, even just a little tiny one. Eric and I have no restraint. If he and I were sitting in the same pew, there'd be a joke and a comment every 2 seconds. In service, we have to sit apart. That's what it takes, Even something that small, or if it's something as big as saying, "Hey, this guy stole from you. That's me. I'm going to pay you back. He's wronged you in any way. Don't be angry at him. Be angry at me." No matter how small, no matter how big, we have that choice to lay it down and follow that pattern more closely and know that we have that more sure resurrection because of the joy that it gives us. seen what it does.